Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Zabrowski, one of the doctors at Advanced Chiropractic Associates in South Knoxville. This next 35 minutes is allotted as the alternative for people who cannot attend our health and wellness seminars that we put on at the office. So, the purpose of this talk, we're going to talk about what is health, where does it come from, how to find it when you need it, and how to get the most benefit from your care when you come into our office. We are also going to talk about the difference between the healthcare models, about traumas, stress, toxins, and spinal neglect, which end up leading to poor health. Quality information is quality decisions about your health. And there's going to be some things on here that you've never heard before, that people don't like to talk about, that might make you a little bit uncomfortable. But it's stuff that you need to hear. I'm a straight shooter and I like to tell it how it is. So I'm going to go ahead and that's what I'm going to do. I became a chiropractor because when I was in high school, I was in a car accident. And it was right before one of my cross-country races, about 3 days before. And I ended up running in that race because I wasn't in any pain. But everybody could tell that my posture was off. I was running, I was all hiked up. And I didn't feel like I was off, but it was harder for me to get the momentum that I needed for the race. So I went to the chiropractor, he examined me and did an adjustment, and I went to him later on that month, but after the initial adjustment, my posture was better, I could breathe easier, and I just felt like all this stress had been off my body. The U.S. healthcare system, we have the most extensive healthcare system in the world. We have most doctors, the best medical schools, top hospitals, we have some of the best technology and the best equipment in the world. Now when it comes to emergency trauma and crisis care, we're number one, which is great. But that's only 1% of all of the facets of healthcare. And in the other 99%, we are 79th out of 81 in all the countries combined. Now, I don't know about you, but it's great to be number one in one category, but I'd rather be better in the rest of the categories than to be top in just one, especially when the one is such a small percentage of all the healthcare. So that's not good. The current model of health, symptoms equal poor health. If you have symptoms of pain, then you're in poor health. But really, the objective of the current model of health is to relieve your symptoms without trying to figure out exactly what the cause is. So we all should go every 6 months to the dentist to have our teeth cleaned. We don't have pain in our teeth or in our mouth at the time, but we go to get our teeth cleaned because we want to prevent that from ever occurring. So the current medical model is judged by how a person feels. If you don't have pain, then you don't have symptoms. But if you don't have pain and you don't have symptoms, you can still be unhealthy. So there's a disconnect here of how this can actually happen. Pain is one of the last symptoms to actually occur. There's always something that's going on in the body before pain actually occurs. I'm going to tell you some things about feeling good. Leading cause of death in the world. Number 1 is heart disease. Number 2 is cancer. And number 3 is stroke. And as you can see on the right side of this, early symptoms for all of these, there aren't any. They just happen. And I liken this to a story of, there was a marathon runner and he was running a race. And we all consider marathon runners to be some of the healthiest people in the world because they're out there running 26.1 miles. Well, what happened? There was a marathon runner who was running a race and he dropped dead of a heart attack. Never knew it was coming. And he's supposed to be healthy. He didn't have any pain, but there was definitely a problem going on. So, you ingest bad food. The body wants you to get rid of it. So you're going to, throw it up. Your body also helps you kill bacteria and bad stuff by having a fever. If you touch something hot, your reaction is going to be pulled back really fast because your body doesn't like that. There's always a response. Health. There isn't one specific definition that defines health based on symptoms or how a person feels. There's all these different types of models, but there isn't one specific definition. Billy Joel plays piano. Everybody loves him, Piano Man. I'm not a great singer, so I'm not going to sing it to you. But imagine if we gave Billy Joel bad keys on his piano. He's pretty good. He knows where his keys are. But if we mess up his keys, he's going to produce terrible music. And then it would be like I was singing to you. But with Billy Joel's, if we give Billy Joel the keys that he's used to, the piano he's used to, grand piano, let's say that, he goes ahead and he puts out the best music in the world that everybody loves and enjoys. So, it's fair to say that health isn't about the symptoms at all. It's all about function and structure and of how the person is allowed to function. Health is your birthright. We are designed to be healthy. The real question is, what limits our body's ability to function properly? Alright, so now we're going to get into some anatomy. So, what is the most important organ in the body? Since nobody's here to answer that, I'll go ahead and answer it for you. It's the only organ that's encased entirely in bone. It's the brain. It controls everything in the body. And if you don't have a brain, you don't have life. That's where your innate intelligence comes from, the body's ability to heal itself. Or it's also called your inborn wisdom, how you can adapt and how you learn how to do things. And the second most important organ in the body is the spinal cord. The spinal cord connects the brain to the rest of the body. And then it's almost completely encased in bone as well. So we can see that the two most important structures in the body are all almost or completely or almost completely encased in bone because they need the most protection. So, just a little bit more of an anatomy. In your neck, you have 7 cervical vertebrae. In the back, you have 12 thoracic. And in the low back, you have 5 lumbar. And there's also associated curves, and there's little holes, which are called foramina, where the nerves come out. How many bones do you think are in a giraffe's neck? I'll go ahead and answer that for you. They have 7 as well. They're just really big. So, in between all of the vertebrae are things that are called intervertebral discs. Now, intervertebral discs are hard ligaments, but they're gooey on the inside. They have a liquid center. They're almost like a jelly donut. And then the spinal nerves come out of, like I said, they come out of the intervertebral foramina. So what causes spinal misalignment? Everybody always wants to know, okay, why do I have this pain? What caused me to be misaligned? Well, you could have had childhood trauma. You could have, from playing sports, or you could have been injured when you were playing a sport. Back in the day, the way the boys and girls used to flirt would pull out the chairs from underneath each other so they fell on the floor. You could have fallen off your bike. And then other sorts of falls and tumbles. So other causes of spinal misalignment, and one that people don't always think about, is birthing trauma. The average OB is 170 pounds, and the average baby, when it's born, is only 7 pounds. And then the average amount of pull on a baby's neck is 70 to 90 pounds during the birthing process. Now, this isn't made up. There were scientific studies that were done to figure this out. So if you think about this, think about the amount of pull that is put on a baby's neck, and that's the first thing that they're exposed to when they come into this world. It's a lot to me. And so some other causes of spinal misalignment. We have adult injuries, falls on the ice, falling downstairs, playing sports we probably shouldn't be playing, but we're older, lifting injuries, repetitive motions. That's a big one. Repetitive motion, repetitive trauma is a big one. I actually had repetitive trauma on my wrist. and then bumps and jars of the head. As you can see, there's a picture of the president on here, and he was getting out of his helicopter and bumped his head. And I don't know about you, but I think somebody should have taken a good look at that, and I would have liked to have my hands on him as well. So other causes of spinal misalignment: auto accidents. Even low speed impacts can be dangerous, and actually they're almost worse just due to the inability for us to brace because we don't even see them coming. Whiplash injuries are a big cause of spinal misalignments. And then they might not happen all at once. You might not feel the effects. It might be 6 months down the road after you've had a car accident where you start to feel the effects of what was going on inside your body. And other causes of subluxation or spinal misalignments are toxins, like from your Cheetos, prescription pills, and stress. Stress can come from kids, your work, or the in-laws. So it's safe to say that spinal misalignments and pain are all cumulative effects. There isn't always necessarily one action and one thing that points it out. Now there are sometimes, but for the most part, pain comes later, and it's due to the fact that we've had a fall, we've had a car accident, we've played sports and gotten hit in the head. So the body is incredible. So Christopher Reeves, the old Superman, he had a horseback riding accident. It broke a bone in his neck. It's the second vertebra, C2. Back in the day, this was called a hangman's fracture. Now, it was called a hangman's fracture because when they used to hang people back in the day, that's the bone that would likely break in the neck, causing them to die. And now, this being said, it was very lucky that Christopher Reeves survived this accident, because all the respiratory centers and the nerves that innervate the organs, the vital organs like the heart and the lungs, are located in the upper neck. So imagine this. Imagine you go to McDonald's drive-thru. I don't recommend it because the food isn't that great, but say you do. You go to McDonald's drive-thru and you're sitting there and you're talking to the person in the voice box. And you hear, and it's a muffled noise, okay? But then you get to the window and you can hear them clearly. So the guy in the voice box with the muffled sound that you can't hear is like a subluxation or a misalignment, where the bone is putting pressure on the nerve can't get the information that it needs to. There's some sort of interference that's going on. And what we try to do is go ahead and go in. When we adjust it, we remove that interference, and then you can hear the person clearly. So that, as you can see on this chart, nerves go everywhere. So even though you have pain in your arm, it could be caused by something in your neck. You have pain in your leg, it could be caused by something in your low back. So you can't always just trace it to the area that it hurts. It's not necessarily something that's happening at that specific spot. You can also see on this chart that the nerves innervate vital organs. We have the lungs, the small intestine, the pituitary gland, the heart. All these different organs are innervated by nerves. And so, a subluxation. I know that I've said the word subluxation a few times, and now I'm going to explain to you exactly what it is and how we diagnose it. So a subluxation is two vertebrae sitting on top of each other. One of them gets misaligned, putting pressure on the nerve. How we diagnose a subluxation? There could be pain and tenderness. There could be inflammation or swelling, tight muscles, locked joints or reduced motion in those two vertebrae, or there could be abnormal posture or abnormal heat in the area. Now, this was a study that was done by Dr. Cheng-Ha Su, and he said subluxations are very real. We have documented it to the extent that no one can dispute its existence. And he also found that a weight of a dime on a spinal nerve will reduce the nerve transmission by as much as 60%. And a weight of a dime is not very much. And so just that little bit of pressure on that nerve interferes with you being able to have 60% of function of that nerve. It's amazing. To take this even further, So there's a spot here on your wrist where everybody says they have carpal tunnel. It's right here. If you put pressure on that really hard, now don't hurt yourself, but put some good pressure on there. If you put pressure on there hard enough, where you'll start to feel it is in your fingers. Your fingers might start to go numb. They might start to tingle. So it just goes to show you that putting pressure on one spot will shoot it out to other areas of the body, like the fingers. So if you put pressure on your neck on a nerve, it can shoot it down into your arm. Now, the Journal of American Medical Association said deviations in the body's center of gravity, or poor posture, have resulted in intestinal problems, hemorrhoids, varicose veins, osteoporosis, hip and foot deformities, poor health, and decreased quality of life with shortened lifespan. That's the American Medical Association. All right, now here are just a few frustrations. So people always say, "Oh, I'm going to go ahead and put off the problem. I'll just wait. I'll put it off. I'm not going to get that checked." Well, imagine you have a leaky roof and you don't get it checked. Well, one day it's just going to open up and water's going to come flooding down onto your head. That's not good. The 5 most dangerous words in the world. Maybe it will go away. Common sense and reality is something only goes away when what is causing it actually goes away. Some other frustrations. Covering up the problem with Tylenol, Advil. It's not taking care of the problem. It's just making the symptoms go away. It's making you feel better, but it's not actually fixing the problem. It's like going ahead and putting duct tape on your oil light when you need to get your oil changed in your car. The oil still needs to be changed, and covering it up, you might not see it, but eventually your car's going to run out of oil and it's going to stop working correctly. Another frustration is people missing appointments. The treatment plans that we create for you are designed specifically for you to heal correctly. It's like a recipe and there's specific timing for everything. Imagine making a cake. Now, it has a specific order and there's a certain amount of time for each order. If you try to rush it, the cake's going to crumble. And if you don't rush it, you're going to have a work of art that's going to taste great. Another problem is that as humans, we are in too big of a hurry. When we want something done, we want it done now. We want to be out of pain as quickly as we can. But chiropractic works on the 90-day principle, and so does the body. The 90-day principle is in effect because we don't know why. Why does it take 90 days in order for the body to heal? Something we don't know. But there's a relief phase, a healing phase, and a rehab phase. You can't rush nature. Why are women pregnant for 9 months? We don't know. But they are pregnant for 9 months. That's just how the body does. And imagine, take this into account. You have heart surgery, or you know somebody who has had heart surgery, or heaven forbid you ever have to have heart surgery. But you can't do much for 3 months afterwards. And 3 months afterwards is about 90 days because you have to have time to heal. Imagine you break your wrist. You're in pain. They're going to put you in a cast. The pain goes away. But they don't take the cast off right away. Once they do take the cast off, you're not off the hook because you have to go ahead and you have to strengthen your wrist. It's the same 90-day principle for every profession. So principles for a healthier life. Health is your birthright. At conception, we have 2 cells that come together, and then following that, they replicate to form who you are. It starts off 2, then you go to 4, then you go to 8, and 16, and so on and so forth. And after that, there's something that's called the primitive streak. And the primitive streak becomes the notochord. And the notochord directs how all the cells form and where they go in the body. So that's how you know a cell knows that it's a lung cell or it's a heart cell. The notochord eventually ends up becoming the central nervous system, controlling growth and development of the fetus. The incredible nervous system. The nervous system controls every process in the body. The heart, the lungs, digestion, temperature, they're all automatic. The body is in a constant state of cell replication or healing. Did you know that every 7 years we actually get a whole new body? It's brand new. What if there's interference with the nervous system though? So imagine you have a hose and you put a car tire on top of it and it's pinching the hose and the water can't go out the way that it needs to. Well, if you remove it's the same exact thing as a subluxation. Subluxation puts the pressure on the nerve. And if we remove the subluxation, it allows the body to heal itself. Adjustments restore flow to the nerve and it gives the body energy. This allows the body to function how it was designed. And it's just like if you take the hose, it's got the dead flowers because everything couldn't go to it, but you take the pressure off, you have a beautiful garden. So the Journal of Neurological Science, the quality of healing is directly proportional to the functional capability of the central nervous system to send and receive nerve messages. Medical's approach is system relief model. They treat the body as individual parts rather as a whole. And their biggest thing is they only want to treat symptoms. They're not interested in finding out the problem is. They just treat the symptoms to get you out of pain and mask the problem. You might feel better, but the problem's still going to be there. On top of that, all of the drugs that you're taking have some sort of side effects. Ibuprofen affects your stomach. Tylenol affects the liver. So, as you can tell, these side effects over time could cause other problems in your body. You know, some people take anywhere from 3 to 14 drugs a day. How can you function normally when you're taking that many drugs? Pharmaceutical companies, they're focused on the symptom model as well. Do you think that there's a profit incentive for drug companies to sell you drugs? Well, they spend 80% of their budget on marketing. And Americans spend $300 billion just last year on drugs. And the combined profits of the top 10 Fortune 500 pharmaceutical companies, $35.9 billion. That's a B, billion. Yet, Americans are 79th out of 81 countries in total health index, even spending 2.7 trillion on healthcare. So, your health versus your stock value. I think they're going to take their stock value. Insurance. It's a business. They're based on the symptom model as well. They want doctors to do the least amount that they can in the shortest possible amount of time at the cheapest price. They're a symptom system, not a function system. So here's a story for you. There was a guy in Chicago who injured his leg and he went to the doctor, but his health savings account, his insurance, they wouldn't cover the surgery. The surgeons were going to go ahead and do it. But the insurance said, no, it's cheaper for us to just go ahead and cut off his leg instead of pay for him to have his leg, to have surgery on it. So instead of him getting surgery to repair his leg, they decided to amputate it instead. Now, I don't know about you, but I like having both my legs, and I don't want them to make judgments on my life. So it's just a roll of dice. It comes down to money, time, the quality of it. And so the purpose of chiropractic is to remove interference. We want to allow proper nervous system communication with the body, proper cell replication, which is also healing, and we want proper function because we work in the functional model. And then it's all that comes back to your health. So here's some examples of things that we see in our office. So this patient here presented with headaches and arm pain. So as you can see on the left, the neck is a lot straighter than the one on the right. That pain, the pain that they were getting was because of how straight their neck was. We went ahead and we reduced or put the curve back in the neck to where it should be. The pain and the headaches and the arm pain went away. So we also work with people who have asthma. See, on this one, the person on the left, you can tell they're shifted to the right side, the head shifted. And then on the right side, that solid line, they're back right on top of it, and their asthma symptoms went away. This person presented after having a car accident. Well, we try to recreate the accident. And as you can see on the left, the head can only go back a certain distance. They can only extend so far back. But after being under care, they can extend their head back. There's a whole lot more motion that's in that neck. And then upper neck and back pain and blood pressure problems. So a lot of people think for blood pressure, just got to take medication. When a lot of the times it's just the top bone in your neck that needs to be adjusted. So as you can see, the curve in this person's neck on the left is almost reversed. Restores some of the curve. It's not a perfect ideal curve, but we're getting it back in the right direction, and all those symptoms started to go away. Now this person here is an example of consequences of not running through the whole 90-day principle. This patient came in early in Dr. Parsons' career and with lower back pain. She wasn't as improving as fast as he would wanted, so he sent her out to get a second opinion. Well, when she came back, she had all these pins and screws in her back, and now she's lost almost all motion in her lower back. She still comes into the office, but we cannot adjust that area. And I was talking to Dr. Parson, and he told me that one of the things he wishes that he would just spend a little bit more time working with her, and maybe he could have prevented this from ever coming to this point. So, if you have any feedback and you want any more information, we do have articles for you. You just need to ask us. If we also do, if you know of anybody who would be interested in something along these lines, just let us know. We can give you the information and you can get it to them. We also do health and wellness lunch talks. So if you have any places that you would like us to go, we're more than willing to come and talk to people and teach them similarly to what we just did here. In conclusion, explain how to not undo what we are doing, and for you how to get the best out of the care that when you come to the office. We discussed the 90-day principle. We've also discussed the need to follow the recipe for the best results. Can't rush perfection. And you were designed to be healthy, and health does not come from a potion or pill, but from inside via the nervous system. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you all have a great day.